Hello everybody, this is another YouTube video, and I'm going to be talking about the Thor again. I decided I wanted to make a YouTube video about the performance of the Thor. A lot of you asked for me to play some games with it, and by a lot of you, I mean one dude, one guy wanted me to do it, so I'm doing it. Why not? It's taken me weeks to record all this. I wanted to get the settings all correct. Getting Switch working was really annoying, but I got it working. So that's good. Specifically Mario Kart. That was a real pain in the ass, but it works. Anyway, these are the games that I decided to test. I have them grouped in sections. The first section is older consoles like PlayStation 2, GameCube. The second section is the 3DS, just because that's kind of what this thing is for. Only tested one 3DS game, Ocarina of Time, just because it can run every 3DS game. I just thought I would show a little bit of footage of that. Then I did some Switch games, Android games, and PC games through GameHub. So that is running locally, not doing the streaming thing, although that works too. There's just latency, and I don't like that. So starting out, I decided to go with Burnout 3 as my benchmarking game for PS2 games, and it ran really well. It's actually one of my favorite games to play on the Thor. The only problem is when you get taken out and you spawn back in, there's a little stutter right when you spawn back in. It's weird. I think it's when boost gets taken away from your boost meter, it really slows down and chugs for like a split second, and then you're back up to 60 FPS. So that's something to consider, I guess. I don't care about that much. It doesn't bother me that much. But I'm sure you can install some mods or something to optimize that and fix it. And I think that goes for the rest of these games as well. If there are issues with any of these games, you can Google things and try and figure it out that way. I did the best I could with the games that I felt like weren't playable. Emulation is one of those things where your mileage will vary. But yeah, the next game I decided to test was Wind Waker, and that ran perfectly, like no issues whatsoever. I'm using the Dolphin emulator for that one, and I just left it as default settings, and everything ran smooth. I even went back and installed a 16:9 aspect ratio mod so that it would show widescreen instead of having the black bars on the sides, and it ran really well. On the note of GameCube, I also tried Super Smash Bros. Melee, and that had no problems running either. I didn't add any mods to that one. It was just a brief test, and it ran really well. The next game I tested was The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for 3DS. I just wanted to showcase the dual screen capability here. I wasn't concerned about its performance. I figured it would run no problem. I mean, if you can run GameCube, PS2, Switch, it's not gonna chug trying to run a DS game. And as I expected, it ran really well. It's one of my favorite games to play on the Thor at the moment, so I'll probably also check out some other DS games. I'd also like to get into some Pokemon games as well. But yeah, obviously it runs really well. I'm getting a steady 60 FPS, no problem. Default settings using Azahar. That's what it was, Azahar, and it's working just fine. Okay. Now onto some more difficult games. I ran some Switch games here. I started out with Mario Kart, and that one was a real pain. So for all of these Switch games, I'm running the firmware version 19.0.1. That is supposed to be the most stable firmware for the Switch that you can emulate. I think a new version, 22 or 23, just came out, and I haven't tested that. But when I was having troubles, I actually downgraded from 20-something to 19.0.1, and I did see better performance with it and less crashing. I'm using AYN to emulate these Switch games. I also made some game-specific changes for Mario Kart. I changed the graphics driver to the Mesa drivers instead of the recommended turnip drivers, and that made the performance a lot better. But the biggest thing that made Mario Kart run at that steady 60 FPS or close to it is making sure you have Update 3 installed for Mario Kart. Like it's a NSP update for the game that improves performance by like a lot. Like a lot. So before that, I wouldn't have even called it playable, to be honest, because when games lag on the Switch, it slows down time. It doesn't just make it choppy. It's like how fast things move depend on your frame rate. So if you're getting 30 frames per second when you should be getting 60, it's going to go at 0.5 speed, basically. So it feels really weird. So you definitely don't want these games lagging when that's how that works. The next game I tested with default AYN settings was Tears of the Kingdom. I did try installing, I updated it to the newest update for Tears of the Kingdom, and I tried the different drivers. I think my best performance was on the newest turnip driver on version 26, the Mr. Purple driver, and it ran okay. I honestly won't play this game like this, I don't think. I would I would say performs worse than the Switch here. I don't think it's that good. Like in shrines and stuff, you get a steady 30. 30 is the max in this game by default, but out in the open world, it's tough. It drops down to like 20, which is really difficult. And there's also some weird like shadow boxes that show up around, like artifacting. And I'm not sure how to get around that. I tried looking it up a little bit, but I didn't see any solutions really. So I would say this is not playable, but I would say this is the only Switch game that I would consider not playable. Breath of the Wild actually ran way better than this. So yeah, Tears of the Kingdom I would say is a no-go, unfortunately. One cool thing to note about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is the actuation works by default, or at least it did for me on the AYN emulator. So when you tilt the device, you can actually steer like your arrows and that ability that picks up things and moves them. You can actually tilt the device and move it around. That's the actuator, right? Is that what it's called? The actuator or the accelerometer? Maybe that's it. Whatever is in there that lets you tilt it and do stuff with it like you can with the Joy-Cons, that works. So I think Breath of the Wild would be a really fun experience on the Thor for sure, not Tears of the Kingdom. The next game I tried was Mario Odyssey, and that had no troubles running. I got full 60 FPS in that one, and everything ran really smoothly. The next game I tested was Pokemon Arceus, and I was actually surprised. It ran really smooth default, just version 26 of the graphics driver, of the turnip graphics driver, and its max FPS is 30. I did try installing a mod to get it up to 60 FPS, but what ended up happening was it can't reach 60. So I was getting the same issue I was having with Mario Kart, where things were really slowing down, because it maxes out, like the Thor can push about 40 frames max on this game. So when you set the limit to 60, it slows down by a percentage. So I would not do that. So I got rid of that mod, installed a quality of life mod. I don't really know what it does. I think it's just generic graphics improvements. It's probably just some sort of color grading mod. I'm not even really sure. People just recommended it and I installed it. But yeah, it ran really well and I actually plan to play through the game on the Thor. The next game I tested for the Switch is Xenoblade Chronicles, and it ran really well. No complaints. It's another open world game and it's optimized really well. It looks really good, and I was getting a stable 30 FPS similar to Pokemon. It ran great. And here's a little bit of gameplay here. I'm not sure how accurate the frame rate counter is on the bottom screen. I don't know, like it's capping at 60 in the AYN frame rate counter. Capping at 30, I mean. Did I say 30 or 60? 30? It's capping at 30 in the AYN emulator, but on the bottom screen, the Thor has its own FPS counter, and that went up to like into the 40s. So I'm not 100% sure. I think you only see the 30, and on the bottom it shows you what it's trying to push, I guess. I'm not 100% sure on that, but anyway, it ran really well. I'd say it's totally playable if this is something that you wanted to play on the Thor. And yeah, I figured those were mostly all of the really high intensity games. The platformers on Switch all run fine. I think in my last video I ran Super Mario Wonder, and that ran really well. But for these next games, I decided I'd test some Android games, some games that were actually designed to run on an Android device like this one. I say designed to run on a device like this one, but they're not really designed for controllers, or at least I didn't think so. There's a lot of touchscreen controls that are just littering your screen. But the first game I tested was Destiny Rising. I think it's a relatively new mobile version of Destiny, and it ran really well. I actually was shocked by how well it ran. According to the Thor FPS counter, I was getting around mid 40s FPS, and it was variable, but I didn't notice any sort of lag or stuttering or anything. It was really well optimized in my opinion, and it felt really good, or as good as a first-person shooter can feel on a handheld, but it ran great. I even got some recordings of some higher action parts, and it still didn't go below 40. It ran really well, and there's a lot of stuff going on too, so I was surprised by that. The next Android game I tested was Black Desert Online, the mobile version. That was one I was thinking would struggle a little bit, only because Black Desert Online for the PC, I've played that before, and it's pretty graphically intense. But again, I was surprised. It ran super good. Like I was getting mid 40s to mid 50s FPS, and it ran great. I don't really know how to play the game, so I apologize for this this gameplay you're seeing, but nonetheless, it ran really good. I don't know if there's probably other areas where there's more stuff going on, like if you're dealing with other players and fighting with other players, but for like the starter-ish zone where I was, it ran really well. I had no stuttering, no issues. The controls weren't amazing. It doesn't show you what controller button binds to what ability. You kind of just have to figure that out for yourself. Maybe there's a setting you can tweak for that, but that was my only complaint. And that's honestly my only complaint with all of these Android games. It's a matter of controller support. They all run no problem. It's the controller support and whether or not it's optimized well for controller. The next game I tested after that is Genshin Impact. I've never played this game before, but this one was interesting. It ran really well. It probably ran the best out of all the Android games I played. But the issue I was having was the controller support, and someone actually mentioned in the comments of my last video that you can enable controller support, but the problem was you need to get to a certain point in the story, like you need to get through a certain portion of the prologue to unlock a fairy girl to give you a menu so you can access the settings and turn on controller support. Like you can go to the settings before that, but for some reason it doesn't allow you to turn on controller support until you get through it. So you have to do a small portion of the prologue with the touchscreen, or at least I did. So I thought that was kind of weird, but I did that, and yeah, I got the controller bound, and it was actually good. Like it showed you what buttons bind to what ability, which I really liked, and it felt really good. So yeah, this is definitely working well with the Thor, and no complaints, honestly. The next Android game I tested was Wuthering Waves. Again, another game I've literally never played before, but similar to Genshin Impact, performed really well, hung out around 60 FPS. Controller support was really good. This one had controller support right off rip, and here's a little bit of gameplay to show it off. The last Android game I tested is a newer game as well. It's The Division Resurgence. It's a mobile version of the Division games. I did play those on my Xbox like years and years ago. It's like a looter shooter type of game, kind of similar to Destiny. Not that similar, but I always kind of put them in the same group. I played the old Destiny games as well. But again, yeah, this one also ran really well and had really good controller support. No complaints about this one whatsoever. The graphics, you can actually see I did get an FPS counter up on this one, and the graphic quality was automatically set to low, and I left it as is. I didn't try to push it too much because it's kind of hard to tell when the graphics will drop. In games like this, if the map really opens up, you can probably see quite a bit of FPS drop. So I like to usually leave my graphics on the lower end just in case, especially on a mobile device. But yeah, okay, the final game I tested is actually a Steam game that I'm emulating through GameHub. GameHub just allows you to play Steam games on Android devices. It basically emulates a Windows computer, if I understand correctly. And I was surprised. I played Megabonk, which is a new game, newish. I think it came out late last year. It's a new game to me anyway. I just picked it up. And it's a lot of fun. It's a roguelike where you just go around killing enemies and upgrading your character, and it feels really good, and I was shocked that it performed so well on the Thor. I think the settings are set relatively low, but I did get an FPS counter up, and it hung out at the 60 FPS cap for the majority of the gameplay. I didn't get any footage of it, but I have seen a tiny bit of lag when you get like a lot of enemies and abilities going on all at the same time, but I wouldn't say it affects like the quality of the gameplay whatsoever. I think it ran really, really well. Even on my PC, I see a little bit of lag sometimes when there's a lot of shit going on. But yeah, I think this is a great game, a great use case for the Thor, for PC games. A lot of PC games I don't bother trying on my Thor just because I prefer a keyboard and mouse, but this one ran really well. You can even see on the lower screen, it can push more than the 60 FPS that it's showing. It just has it capped, but we're getting up into the 80s as well, which is super cool. But yeah, this is definitely capable of running PC games. Anyway, not that many games, but those are all the games I got and that I thought were relevant. This thing can handle a slew of other games. I have so many Game Boy Advance games, Nintendo DS games, other 3DS games, N64 games, like just a ton of them. And this can handle those no problem. I've had no issues whatsoever. These are only the games that I genuinely wanted to know how it would perform, and I thought I'd log it into a video. So I hope this helps anyone who's looking at buying a Thor and just wanted to see the quality and the gameplay on it. And yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Peace.
Like, comment, and subscribe.